Amen. My name is Tan Moss, and I'm the pastor of the Greater Grant African Methodist Episcopal Church in Jacksonville. I am originally from Havana, just a few miles north of Tallahassee, a graduate of Havana Northside High School, Florida A&M University graduate. And I'm still my wife and I, we still have a resident in Tallahassee, a residence in Tallahassee, and we own a business in Tallahassee. And so I'm extremely excited to see this justice ministry getting started in this area, which has so profoundly impacted my life. All of the work that I've done in justice ministry has been done in Jacksonville. I've been in Jacksonville for 13 years, first serving at the Greater Payne AME Church, and now at the Greater Grant Church for the last 8 years. And I am affiliated with the ICARE organization. ICARE stands for the Interfaith Coalition for Action, Reconciliation, and Empowerment. And I currently serve as the co-president with Reverend Dr. Bruce Haven. The ICARE organization is comprised of 38 congregations, which represent more than 30,000 people in Duvall County. And I've been affiliated with ICARE since 2009, and was introduced to this work of justice by the Reverend Dr. James Proctor, who is just a legend in the DART organization as well as in the AME Church. So what things are possible with organized people? Since its inception in 1997, ICARE has built power and has used this power responsibly. We've pressed the sheriff to expand the funding of the Jacksonville Reentry Center to over $1.3 million to assist those returning citizens who have committed crimes and served and paid their debt to society as they're coming back into society, have the support that they need to go on to be successful and productive citizens in Duvall and in society in general. We've also worked to reduce infant mortality, bringing it to a 20-year low through a collaboration with the 6 major hospitals in Jacksonville, implementing the World Health Organization's Baby Friendly Initiative. And we've also increased the transparency in our law enforcement by pressing our state attorney and the sheriff to post crime data and data related to criminal prosecution on their website, which increased transparency and trust between both the community and law enforcement in Duvall County. And these are just a few of the victories that we've been able to achieve through the responsible use of our power over these 24 years. But the problem which caused me the most frustration and anger was discovering the alarming number of children being arrested by law enforcement for childish behavior and mistakes, misdemeanor crimes, nonviolent crimes. Over 600 kids were being arrested annually in Duvall County for nonviolent misdemeanors. And the cost to the city was $4,500 each to process each one of these children through the criminal justice system for a whopping $2.7 million annually. Misdemeanors such as schoolyard fights, throwing spitballs in class, misdemeanor transportation or trespassing, or underage drinking. At our Nehemiah assembly just this past May, one of our pastors gave a powerful testimony about how he had been arrested as a teenager for stealing a honey bun. Stealing a honey bun as a teenager. He got arrested from a store. After serving his community service, he thought the rest had been expunged from his record. But 15 years later, after he had graduated from high school, had gotten a college degree, had gone on to law school and was preparing to take the bar exam, the arrest showed up in a level 2 background check and was about to prevent him from becoming an attorney. Preparing to take the bar exam, it came up in a level 2 background check. And if not for the intervention of several of the law professors who believed in him and fought for him and went to bat for him, he would have not been admitted to the bar. And so we learned that these kind of horror stories were happening all over the state of Florida, where the lives of young people who made childish, immature errors in judgment were being unnecessarily ruined. These kind of minor offenses, and many of you who may be my age or older, remember these kind of things were handled in the community and between parents when we were growing up. I can remember the officers bringing kids home when they had done petty theft. They got a whipping. They had to go back to the store and apologize. They had to work for the store, sweeping, cleaning up, or working for that neighbor to fix and make remedy of the offense that they had committed. But the law enforcement was not involved. The criminal justice system was really not involved. And because so many people wanted to find a remedy to this problem, Florida-based DART affiliates united and initiated a statewide campaign to stamp out these arrests of children for misdemeanors and non-serious offenses. Each of our organizations held actions in our own communities to hold law enforcement and our state representatives accountable for branding our children with criminal records that will follow them for the rest of their lives. Over the course of 5 years, through these actions, we turned out more than 15,000 people each year. In Duvall County, we turned out an average of more than 1,200 per year to our action. We push law enforcement and state representatives to support legislation that would allow law enforcement to issue civil citations to children who offended instead of arresting them. Civil citations provided our kids a way to be held accountable, because that's critically important in this restorative justice process. They have to be held accountable for their actions. They are required to perform sometimes community service. They have to attend anger management classes or family counseling if those things are appropriate, and provide restitution to repair the harm that's been done to the victim. But then they are restored to the community in order to continue their journey to become productive citizens in society. The foundational principles of these pre-arrest diversion programs, restorative justice programs like civil citation, is to restore and heal the child rather than arresting them, because arrest creates a negative stigma that many times they don't overcome. And it puts a stain on their record that follows them for the rest of their lives. A record that makes it extremely difficult for them as an adult to get a job, when you have to check that box that says I've been arrested, or to enter the military, or many times to enroll in college. So in other words, civil citation and pre-arrest diversion programs protect our children and their future. And it helps them to avoid the engagement with the criminal justice system, and it teaches them the value of making wise decisions. I'd like to just take a minute to show you a video that summarizes our statewide campaign.
It's not something that I had ever considered or even thought that would ever happen. My son was arrested.
As we know, the state of Florida still has a major problem with over-arresting children and adults for minor offenses.
Come over here.
What are those for?
It's for you.
Keep your head. It's not gonna hurt. No! Okay, no, I don't want to come down. No! No, I was in school. I just saw you.
In 2014, Florida led the country in arresting children, and we were shocked to discover that over 4,500 were children between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. Ridiculous.
3 years ago, I watched my friend's 7-year-old daughter be arrested and put in handcuffs and taken away. This little 7-year-old girl has autism that was undiagnosed. They were ending up having to zip tie her hands behind her back. If the handcuffs won't fit because they're too big, the child should never be arrested.
On the last days of 8th grade, my son packed his own lunch and brought a butter knife with a plastic handle to slice up a mango for a snack. Sent him off to school, not knowing that just 45 minutes later, he would be arrested.
Just in the past year, 10,000 were arrested and ended up with criminal records that they would not otherwise have.
Behind me, you'll see advocates from across the entire state. They're holding up signs that show the number of youths that were in fact arrested for any one of these cases.
I have a sign on that said when I was a kid, I trespassed. If I was living in Polk County and got arrested, I would have not had the opportunity to serve.
All right, thank you. So this is how we exercise power in relationship to public officials, using the power of organized people, not just to get laws passed, but also to hold officials accountable for implementing the laws. In Duvall County, now 90% of the eligible youth are issued civil citations. We've reduced the number of kids being arrested by 500 per year, and we're saving the city over $2 million per year. And at the Greater Grant Church, we've had the wonderful privilege of hosting the first Neighborhood Accountability Board. There are 4 in Duvall County, and the first one is at the Greater Grant Church, where many of my members have the opportunity to serve on that Neighborhood Accountability Board, and they see for themselves how their commitment to justice and their investment in justice has the ability to transform the lives of young people. One of the last things I want to say to you about justice and about making systemic change, the process can be slow. And many times the changes that you're making in this community, you may not see the full effects of them until maybe the next generation. One of the things that I'm really proud about, civil citations is most certainly one, but also all 198 schools in Duvall County are now trained with restorative practices. All of the principals, the assistant principals, the administrators, the teachers, all use restorative justice in the schools. And so we are teaching the young people conflict resolution at a young age. And so our hope is the next generation, as they grow up, these young people will have conflict resolution skills that will prevent them from reverting to violence as a first option to resolving their conflict. I may not be around when that happened, but I believe that the seeds we're planting with restorative justice and civil citation is going to have that kind of impact 20 and 30 years later. So if we can do it in Duvall, I know you can win victories for children and families here in the Big Bend area. At ICARE, we like to say when we work together, great things happen. So are you ready to make great things happen?
Yes.
If you're ready to make great things happen,
Yes.
amen. Let's go build power.
Yes.